The next time someone says to you that America doesn't have a problem, you tell them we have a plenty. Right now, in the great state of Virginia, there's an individual running for Congress who is, in fact, a pedophile. Why do we know he's a pedophile? Because he's admitted to it. On online forums that you've raped your own wife is admitting to a crime. Correct? Well, why? Because she's dead? Because she killed herself? Because that's how freaking crazy you were? Oh, but hey, again, America doesn't have a problem. If you ask me, I think we have a huge problem. And I know you caught that little blip at the end there where he's also a fan of Adolf Hitler's. Let me just explain something to you. I'm a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. Maybe a little crazy about them if you ask some people. But no one's ever going to say, oh, he's a fan of a football team? That guy's a lunatic. When you're a fan of someone who's responsible for the extermination of millions of people, I would say you're probably a terrible human being. That right there should forego you being allowed. Like, I think there should be some standards for sweet marriage. Like, a guy, you should not be able to come right out and say, hey. But then again, I guess I'd much rather this guy come right out in the open and say, hey, I'm a crazy bastard. As despicable as this human being is, I actually think he could be a good unifier for this country. I mean, really think about it. I would say that most people would agree that it's probably a bad idea to repeal the act for violence against women. Probably a bad idea, right? Domestic violence is already something that's jamming up multiple police districts, municipalities, cities, etc. Right? Like we understand that that's a majority of what the phone calls are, right? 911 responses. But no, so we're not going to repeal that. And I think most people would be like, man, that's probably a bad idea, right? Like I think we can all, doesn't matter, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat, I'm black, I'm white, I'm homosexual, I'm straight, I'm binary, I'm whatever I don't, you know what my point is, it doesn't matter what you identify as or what you are or how you vote or how you live. Violence against women is a bad thing. No one condones raping. Like I've never met a person. I have met people who are racist. I've met people who are misogynistic to the point where you talk about rape and like, whoa. You know what I mean? Like their misogyny actually has a tipping point, right? It doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. You don't meet people who are like, yep, yeah, I think rape's great. It's not something. It's like murder, right? Like you meet somebody who's like, yeah, like murder. Like you run away from these people. So I think right now that liberals and conservatives, Republicans and Democrats, black, white, women, trans. I don't care if you're from the boonies. I don't care if you're from the inner city. I don't care if you're from palatial estates. This is a terrible human being, right? Like this is the kind of person who's to be rooted out of America, and not by rooted out I mean in the sense of like, oh, we're gonna go put him somewhere. You don't like America, get out. I'm not saying it's anything like that. What I'm saying is like you have to combat this kind of lunacy, right? But at the same time, then maybe we shouldn't have such deep cuts to mental health spending in America. But I don't know. You know, this guy doesn't go and shoot up a school, but he says some really messed up things. And by the way, if you admit that at one point he's like in the Huffington Post, he says, "Oh yeah, well, you know, there's some truth to it." Does that warrant someone to do an investigation? Doesn't that mean someone should probably be knocking on his door? I don't know the status of his child living in his home, but I'm hoping that she doesn't because it sounds like he had sex with her, and I don't know. Like, why is this not a bigger issue? No, I get it. We can watch videos of all kinds and get just as pissed off. I've seen some really messed up videos in the last 48 hours. But this one is really an issue because it means somebody of his ilk, right, feels emboldened and empowered to come out and speak his fandom for Hitler, that women deserve to be raped, how to hype yourself up like you're gonna, hey guys, what are we doing this Friday? Hey, let's go out and rape some women. Like that's how you psyching yourself up. Like I played football when I was in high school. You used to hit your helmet against somebody else's helmet and go, ah, you know what I mean? Like that was psyching yourself up, right? You know, right before a show, you started thinking about the different jokes you're gonna do. You know, you're getting ready for on stage, you're psyching yourself up. You know, you have a certain song that plays. Yeah, you're psyched up. You don't have to psych yourself up for rape because you're not supposed to freaking rape anybody. But again, this is something that should be unifying America. I think we should all get together on this one, right? And if you're going to say, yeah, I really think anyone who's a fan of a Nazi, Hitler specifically, that's a bad thing. So remember when you see swastikas being burned and the resurgence of white nationalists coming around, that's the problem. This guy represents so many things that are wrong in America, and I can't understand, like, and I know it's not guilt by association because it's really difficult to do, but like if you don't come out as a Republican and somebody who, yeah, I believe in Trump, you know, this guy thinks he can do and say what he does because of Trump. And if you don't think that is the case, I want you to explain to me how it's not. Where was this guy before? Instead of coming out and saying he wanted to run for public office, he was just sending letters to the president saying I was going to kill him. Yeah, dude, you wrote a letter? Seriously? Have you never heard of the Secret Service? For Christ's sake. Everyone knows what happens when you threaten the president of the United States. You know how many times I wanted to tweet some really heinous things? Like I almost sent a picture of my poo to President Trump on Twitter. I'm afraid like, oh, I'll get a knock at the door because it'll be the Secret Service. But that's a threat. Your shit looks terrible. The point of the matter is we have to come together, and if we can't all come together over this dickweed, then there's something definitely wrong in America. And when someone tells you, oh, but there's people that are kneeling for the flag, and that's going against veterans who are homeless and don't have body parts, but we let them sit out on the streets, don't give me your righteous bullshit. There are so many issues in America, and this guy should bring us all together to recognize that we need to fix some stuff.